Glyn, welcome to the programme. Always good to see you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good to be here.
There's an election coming up. You may have noticed that.
That's right. Once the rugby was over, that's all anybody's noticed.
I guess the question is, as Christians, we have a tendency to say, well, you know, it's things of the world. You know, we shouldn't necessarily get that involved. How important is it for Christians to take an interest and vote?
Well, I would really hope, Alan, that there are not Christians out there who still hold that view. It's absolutely vital. I couldn't be more emphatic in saying that if there are Christians watching this today, then we have got to get out and vote. And there's a number of reasons. Firstly, we believe that God created everything, God's sovereign over everything. There's not one part of this creation that God doesn't want to be redeemed to himself, and that includes family, business, media, and of course, government. We are called as Christians to be salt and light. We're called as Christians to look after the marginalised people in our society. And when you understand the role that the government plays in that, and the fact that we have this opportunity every 3 years to participate through voting, that becomes part of our responsibility. So a party that gets into government that has got policies which may be damaging or not as helpful as they should be, those are parties that we shouldn't have anything to do with, and we should be actually favouring parties. And so, of course, that leads on to the next part, which is that one of the things Christians have to do, and I know this is very complicated and we've all got limited time, but as far as we're able, we have to be getting informed on the key election issues.
That's the trouble, though, isn't it? It is very complicated, and I mean we've interviewed all the party leaders on the programme over the past 7 or 8 weeks, and I've come out of it having spent a significant amount of time with all of them, still not entirely sure where I'm going to place my X, because I listen to them and you think, oh yeah, that's good, but on the other hand, that's not what I agree with. But that was good over there, but then that's not what I agree with.
Yeah.
So how do you find a way through that minefield?
Well, the first thing that as Christians we should be doing is praying. And it's always challenging to ask ourselves, are we praying as much as we really should be when you consider that the outcome of the election has such a significant impact? That's probably the first thing. The second thing we've got to be doing is praying, and the third thing we've got to be doing is praying with exclamation marks. So we really do need a lot more prayer. We can trust the outcome to God when we pray. And I think that you're right, that there's probably no party that we could say all of their policies lined up with our understanding of the gospel. But we do have to be looking for those parties that have got policies, and this comes back to the fact that we're not looking for what's best for me out of this. As Christians, we're not saying, how do I get the best bang for my buck in this election? We're saying, what is the best for society? And again, keeping in mind the marginalised, the people that don't get the same opportunities in society as the rest. And so that's just a matter of talking to your friends, talking in your churches. In our church last week, we had the candidates for our local electorate came in. It was very, very interesting. Each of the parties has got something of the kingdom values in it. And so we find the Green parties have got a tremendous focus on creation, environmental concerns and so on. And now they're becoming more centrist, you might say, in terms of understanding of economics, but they have a heart for the marginalised. Labour Party similarly. National Party focuses on things like individual responsibility, which is also important, but they're also talking about environmental concerns. So you get a huge overlap in these issues. And depending on, I mean, we are different people, and the people watching this program are all individuals too. So depending on what God's laid on their heart, how God's gifted them, the area of the kingdom that sort of, or the vineyard, you might say, where God's told them to go and work, they might be more focused on some of those issues than others. And that's why you find people leaning towards one party more than another.
What we need is a website where you can say, okay, I believe in this, this, this and this.
Yeah, and it comes out with the answer.
Yeah.
Well, of course, we have that for the referendum. Now, there's two parts to this election. We have a normal one where we vote for our candidates and our electorate and our party. But on the other hand, we've got this referendum which comes around once in a lifetime for most people. And so viewers should be taking this very seriously. This is where you get to pick, and as I said, probably only once in a lifetime, the way that we actually vote our government in. And so I'd encourage people to go to the Electoral Commission website. There's a tremendous tool, which is like what you're saying, where you can say, well, do I want more accountability or less? And do I want more governance and less, and so on? You go through the options, and it comes out with which of the referendum options most closely matches your responses. And you're right, we need the same thing for the general election.
I think one of the most difficult things is you do sometimes feel that you're going out and doing this and actually it doesn't make a difference. That that we are a voice in the wilderness, and that the Christian vote isn't taken seriously by politicians, that whatever we do, we're not going to change things, so why bother?
And that leads to a cynicism which we, as Christians, we have got to work against, and we have got to talk to our colleagues at work and our family members and our next door neighbours, and we've just got to encourage them to take seriously a system of government which many people through the centuries have died for. In fact, even in our own day, there are people fighting for freedom and free elections. And if we look at just some of the countries that have appeared on our TV news recently, we see people standing up for democracy, for what we have, and we should never take that too lightly.
So November 26th, you'll be out there?
I'll be out there with bells on.
Glyn, it's always good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed.